This is a story that I kind of gave up on after the initial Cassie-related allegations came out and were immediately paid off. I'll be completely honest on this one, I ended up messing it up quite a bit. Well, at least in regards to how it eventually played out. I was still right about somebody just wanting to get one final bag, because after the events of the trial that took place, that just kind of ended up being a clown show, and that's kind of why I wanted to step back from it to begin with. It just ended up being exposed as a bunch of people with a lot of conveniently timed regret. They were all down with it at the time that the nasty was going on, but now that they can't benefit from it anymore, well, now they decided that, oh, this was just inhuman treatment. And so, as a result, after earlier this year, and the sentencing happened somewhat recently, Diddy will appeal the conviction and his prison sentence. Yes, he was convicted of two counts of transportation to engage in, well, they say position, but I thought it was prostitution. Mostly because some of the other more serious charges just really couldn't be proven. And the longer that the trial ended up going on, it really started to seem like the prosecution kind of wanted to make an example out of him as opposed to seek justice. But Diddy Combs, okay, is a lawyer, intended to appeal his conviction over a 4-year prison sentence. He has 50 months in jail, according to a notice filed Monday in the Federal District Court of New York. Combs was convicted of 2 counts of prostitution-related charges, after an 8-week trial in July. The jury acquitted Combs of the sex trafficking and racketeering charges he faced. The filing on Monday does not explain the grounds on which Combs will base his appeal, but his attorneys have previously argued the conviction should not stand because the statute, transportation for the purpose of prostitution, does not apply. I mean, yeah, that would be pretty serious grounds, even if you think he ended up doing it, but the Music Mogul's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, filed the notice of appeal. After a 2-month trial earlier this year, Combs was sentenced to 50 months in prison for offenses related to prostitution, but gets credit for the year that he's already served in custody in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And yeah, depending on if he's been an upstanding citizen in jail or not, means that he could end up getting even more time knocked off that. So even by the time that appeal could theoretically be heard and another trial gets started up once again, he could have already ended up serving most of the time that he is required to serve based on the conviction. And so while this sits with the information that we have at time of recording, Monday evening, or rather a lack thereof when it comes to, proper grounds for the appeal, I think Diddy kind of has a little bit more of a Hail Mary out there, because he's apparently, or at least his counsel is, trying to get Trump to pardon him? Wait, what? Trump is considering, wait, what? Okay, commuting Diddy's sentence as early as this week. Wait, what? So we could have a Diddy party in the new ballroom when it gets completed, with honored guests showing off his pardon? Wait, what? So yes, Trump considering commuting sentence this week. All right. Donald Trump is considering pardoning Diddy's sentence as early as this week, according to a high-ranking White House official. According to the source, the president is vacillating on the communication, or told that some of his White House staff are urging Trump not to commute the sentence, but another source states the obvious: Trump will do what he wants, and we're told Trump could set Diddy free as early as this week, mostly because I kind of think he believes it would be funny, and also it would upset the media, so that's kind of why I'm thinking it could happen. Diddy is serving 50 months, yes, in prison after violating the Mann Act. Taking that girl across state lines, that's a Mann Act. He served 13 months, yes, all with credit, and he could get out around 2 years. But none of it matters if Trump, yes, commutes his sentence. Of course, as you know, Trump commuted the sentence of other former Congressman George Santos last Friday. Yeah, missed out on that story. And honestly, I don't know a lot about that to begin with, so I don't even know what to comment on or what not to comment on. We know almost immediately that Diddy was sentenced earlier this month. Yes, his legal team was in touch with high-ranking White House officials who has the ear of the president regarding a commutation or pardon just days after Trump told the media he was aware of the ask. Diddy fell out of, Trump's graces when he supported Biden in 2020, but Trump did not slam the door shut on showing Diddy mercy. We're told it's now squarely on the table, and it would be absolutely hilarious if it happens, mostly because, well, like I said before, you got the crazy ass ballroom that Trump is actually paying for that's going on the White House. Construction just began earlier this week as well, and I don't know if it had anything to do with that stupid, underwhelming No Kings protest where a bunch of white liberals turned out and said a bunch of inflammatory shit, but because they didn't have their inner city jackboots out there to burn the shit to the ground, nothing really ended up happening, and it just ended up looking fucking pathetic. Especially with Nancy Pelosi coming out and being a fucking mouthpiece for, yeah, we don't want any royalty. Yeah, we don't want anybody reigning as a dictator. Fucking hilarious, given that was somebody who has been in politics since the fucking 70s. Give me a break. And has filed, yes, re-election papers for next year. Whatever, man. Intellectual consistency is not exactly something that I ever look for when judging the upstanding character or lack thereof with Democrats. But yes, coming back around to Trump and his ballroom. And even before we do that, we actually have a response from the White House that came out on Tuesday, and well, it does clear up a couple of things. It's not quite as committal as one would expect, meaning that I would think that the door is still open for who really knows, man. Okay, but the White House responds to claims that Diddy will be pardoned this week, days after, yes, the George Santos situation went down, which is not quite analogous, but alright. Yeah, so a White House official on Tuesday denied the reports that President Trump is planning to commute the sentence of Sean Diddy Combs as early as this week, days after Trump commuted the sentence of George Santos, a former Republican congressman who pleaded guilty to fraud. Yeah, see, you got, a lesser form of human trafficking, and then you got a little white-collar crime. Well, depending on, what would happen in the aftermath of said trafficking, it could end up with a couple of white collars. TMZ reported that the president was turning his attention to Combs. An unnamed source told TMZ that Trump was, yes, vacillating on intervening on behalf of Combs, and yeah, we went over that article. Yes, but the White House official said that there was zero truth to that report. We would have gladly explained had they reached out to us before running their fake news, the White House official said. The president, not anonymous sources, is the final decider on pardons and commutations. Well, yeah, no, that doesn't sell as well on a headline, okay? That doesn't generate as many clicks by going, yeah, okay, we really hope that Trump would pardon Diddy because it would be hilarious and it would just be a great boon for our website, but ultimately it's his decision, and who really knows what he's ultimately going to decide on anything. But lawyers for Combs confirmed over the summer that they'd ask Trump for the pardon of their client. Trump also confirmed earlier this month, but not definitively said whether or not he would pardon the music mogul. Asked about pardoning Combs in May, Trump said that he was unsure about it, but would look at the facts. I think that someone was mistreated, and it wouldn't matter whether they like me or don't. Asked again in an August interview with Newsmax, the president hinted that it's unlikely that he would pardon Combs, saying that he was once very friendly with Combs, but became very hostile after Trump ran for office. So I don't know if it's more difficult. I don't know. It's more difficult, Trump said on the pardon. Being honest, it makes it more difficult to do. So yeah, I mean, it's still going to be up in the air, but like I said before, and I'll continue to say again, it would be absolutely hilarious. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an update on that one. The White House has officially, denied the news, kind of, sort of, maybe. But yeah, I would imagine this is probably not going to be the last thing we hear about this. So yes, back to the ballroom, back to the memes, and back to the ending of the video. I mean, if he goes through with this, it would just be kind of hilarious. And honestly, did he even bother? Okay, would he be one of those other people that ends up getting a, Trump pardon and never says anything about anything and then just pieces out in the next, few months after they get released? Who knows, man? But I think it would be absolutely hilarious. Totally something that I could see Trump doing, full stop. And yeah, we will have to see if there's anything more to this story by the end of the week. And if there is, I might do an update on it. And if not, well, hey, just let you know that I had a good belly laugh on it. And you know what? All of those hoes that thought that, hey, they were just going to get their bet. They were going to get, one final bag. They were going to get their get back on their former sugar daddy. Yeah, you better go ahead. And if you're just looking for one more payout, you better make sure that, all of that baby oil is properly stocked when daddy gets home. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.